Hey everyone, Smash John here. I wanted to take a moment to alert you about the fact that there's been a change on the Smash Patreon. So we now instead of having the having tiers going up to $10, we only have them going up to $5. But that does not mean you're not getting you can't get the content that was on the $10 tier, as both the one night smashes and the challenging smashy to Keith's trivia is now a part of the $5 tier, so you get even more content for just $5. It's a hell of a deal. I highly recommend you join the Patreon, and I would really appreciate if you did that. And also, I also wanted to tell you about something that is happening. So, we are finally getting into October. And you know what October means? It's spooky time. So, we have on the Patreon, we're going to have a spooky She-Hulk comic that features both She-Hulk and The Thing. And then we also have our B-Smash, which is going to have not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 B-Smashes this month, including in all 4 of the Halloween Town films, and also Rob Zombie's The Munsters. I'm so excited for all of that, and I will also be making sure that Keith at the end of the month gives me some trivia and some Smasher passes that are relating to Halloween. So that's gonna be very, very exciting. I really hope you join us into for this spooktacular season of Halloween. And also, even if you aren't gonna be on the Patreon, you're also going to get some spooky stuff on the normal podcast, as I have planned out. After She-Hulk ends, we're going to have 2 spooky episodes of the Gamma Analysis is in coming near the end of October, and one of these episodes will be featuring a trivia question that I've had up my sleeve. I've been waiting to use since the very beginning of this podcast, back in November of last year. I've been wanting to use this trivia question, but I've been waiting for the spooky time, because it's a great spooky question. I'm so excited for you all to see what I have cooked up for you. And that is all I want to say. Thank you everyone for listening to my podcast. I really appreciate everyone who listens. All right, back to the regularly scheduled podcast. Welcome to the Gamma Analysis. I'm your host, Smash John. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram by searching Smash to follow everything happening with me. I'll be the one with the big old green head in the profile picture. I'm so excited to get into this. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, in this series, I'm going to review everything Hulk, all the movies and TV shows. Hope you enjoy. Smash presents the Gamma Analysis. I want to ask everyone listening if they could please do sign for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all your friends. And for this episode, I'm going to be reviewing She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, episode 8. I'd like to take a moment to say that Smash Trivia now has a Patreon, so please check that out. We have some fantastic extra content on there I bet you'll love. The tiers are as follows. $1 a month is Hulka Holla for $1. $3 a month is the Reading Room with Hulkie and Shulkie. $5 a month is Smashing the TV. Sadly, tonight I will not be joined by my co-host Keith, as he is feeling a bit under the weather. But I do have 2 lovely ladies guesting with me, and they are Shanel from the Nerd in Texas podcast. How are you doing, Shanel?
I'm doing good. I'm like so excited to dive into this.
All right, good. And then we have Rachel Leishman, and
Yeah, you nailed it. People don't.
Right. How are you doing tonight, Rachel?
I'm doing really well. I'm very excited to talk about this episode.
Good, and it's nice to meet you guys, finally. So Normally I would have at this point in the episode some trivia questions for but I'm going to wait today because I'm gonna try something a little bit different to spice up the ice of the podcast. So I'm which I'm gonna be making them into a sort of game, unlike how I normally would just have one trivia question at the start of the episode. And our Hulka Holla for $1, we have film critter Derek Sager and Gabriel Floral. And as always, I highly recommend watching the episode before listening to this podcast. The podcast I want to shout out this week is the Quite Unusual podcast. I listened to their 3-part series on a religious cult called Quiverful last night, and absolutely loved it, especially because their humor or making the dark, serious stuff more palatable was a great addition to it. I highly recommend checking them out. Something I want to touch on briefly that I thought was really interesting. So last night I got an offer to join a D&D one shot. This is the first time I've done D&D in like a year and a half. And as I was telling the DM about my character, I made a realization. So unlike most people, I normally just use the same character every time because I've grown attached to the guy, and I made this character, like 5 years ago. And this was a time when I wasn't massively into Hulk, just because there wasn't much Hulk content coming out, and I was in my teens, so I was like pushing myself away from some of the things I liked, like being like, oh, am I only liking this because it's my favorite color is green, and it's something like that. So I was pushing myself back from it, but as I realized last night as I was talking to the DM about my character, is that I basically made Hulk as my character subconsciously, even though I wasn't thinking of Hulk with the character. I was really thinking of this being the person I want to be. And this is basically my character. He's a half orc paladin. He's basically a giant teddy bear most of the time, but if you anger him, you won't like it at all. And if you do something evil, particularly the children, he will stop you, whatever it takes, even killing you. So yeah, I was funny last night when I realized that. Then also last week I put some hurricane relief donations out, donation funds in the description. The links to for the Hurricane Ian, and I decided I want to continue that. So I'm adding some more donations for good causes in this week, and also for the entire Iron month of October. Because this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I'm putting 3 donations in, and those are our first is to Fuck Cancer, and then the second one is to the Cancer Teamwork Response, and then the third one is to Breast Cancer Research Foundation. All right, and so let's get started on this review. This episode was called Ribbit and Rip It. So first off, I love how this episode opens and first showing what else Jen would do as a Hulk before even before it goes into the previously on segment. And then as we go into the previously on segment, it's Tatiana Maslany's voiceover doesn't say previously on She-Hulk like she has before. She says previously on my show, which kind of to me it means that Jen's fourth wall breaking powers are getting stronger. Which would two of you agree with that statement?
Yeah. That statement, but also I thought like if Disney is actually kind of like watching what people are saying about She-Hulk, because everybody's been like, where's Daredevil? And they're all talking about Daredevil. So I feel like that's Disney's like jab. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That could definitely be and unlike like everything else in the show, since that's just a voiceover, they could actually just easily have Tatiana Maslany make a new voiceover just to screw with those fans.
Yeah.
So and then we actually start the episode with a flashback of why Leapfrog is hiring Jen. We find out his super suit caught on fire. And when Jen asks him who his manufacturer is, he tells her it was Luke Jacobson. To which it's Jen immediately breaks the fourth wall to say, "Oh shit!" I found that hilarious when she did that. Oh man. And so Jen goes to Holloway to ask for Pug to take the case because she feels ethically compromised because she likes her nice clothes and doesn't want to piss him off. I absolutely loved of that line. It was hilarious. Oh man. So Holloway sends her to make an agreement with Jacobson, and Jen tries to do that, but only succeeds in making Jen mad as hell, or Jacobson mad as hell, and refusing to make clothes for her anymore, as well as destroying her dress that she was going to wear to the gala. So we then cut to in court as Luke doesn't seem to have anyone sitting next to him. And the judge asks him where his counsel is, and at the back of the court, a door opens, and Matt Murdock walks in. Oh, oh man, that was a great way to introduce Matt Murdock into the episode.
I think it was really fun because I mean, we'll get into it later, I'm assuming, but I really like that they call back to things that are established in Daredevil. Like,
oh yeah,
Matt was always late because Matt was Daredevil. And so I liked that he was late to court, even in LA, where like Daredevil doesn't exist there. So like he's still late for whatever reason. And I think
man. I didn't realize that they were doing that, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
because there's like stuff later that's also obviously like a
Yeah.
callback to Daredevil, but like
Yeah,
he's late all the time.
there was one thing where I wish they made it even more of a callback to Daredevil when he was talking about his firm in New York. I was hoping that they would say Nelson, Murdoch, and Page, but sadly they didn't.
Yeah, my roommate said that same thing. She was like, "Say their names."
Yeah, I feel like especially because this is She-Hulk, a show very much about female empowerment, like making really making it everyone, you need to remember Paige is also a part of this art of this as a named and person working there.
Yeah.
Since I feel like I because of the fact that wasn't that only set up in the very last episode of Daredevil. I feel like a lot of people probably have forgotten that she's also should be on the name for the building.
Well, she's not only in Daredevil, but she's in
Oh yeah,
The Punisher as well. And so I think she, after Daredevil ended on Netflix, and then I think The Punisher had like another season to where she was in there. So you kind of saw a conclusion to her, but it was not a conclusion at the same time. So it's kind of probably left that door open. But I always try and look into like see what that actress is doing right now and figure out if there's a possibility for that actress to come back. But I haven't really researched into her yet. So I don't know if they're just not naming her to be safe in case she can't come back.
Yeah, I think they probably haven't decided yet whether or not they're bringing back the entire cast from the original Daredevil series because as they are pretty early on in development of into the new series, so they don't know whether they're going to be able to get the contracts set.
Yeah, my friend interviewed her recently and asked her because Karen Page is her favorite. And so when she talked to Deborah Ann Wool was like, "Oh yeah, like I'd always want to come back." So it was like the normal platitude of, "I love that role, I would come back." And also with Fog, like I think with her and Foggy, like they would come back. It just depends on what Marvel has done, and by naming it, that would just put the nail in the coffin of Foggy and Karen are coming back. And then if something happens, because this show is a couple years away now, I think it's just them covering themselves by him being like, "Yes, I have a firm." And so then
I feel like I at the very least they gotta bring Foggy back. Even if they don't keep everything in canon, just because it would feel weird if his practice is just called Murdoch.
Yeah,
That's
I think
true. Yeah.
Boggy also had his like own stuff going on in that show.
Yeah.
That they might keep the name and then just like reference where Foggy is. Like there's a lot they could do. I think it's a smart move not to have it all dropped in She-Hulk because then that would be all anyone
Yeah,
is
that makes sense.
focused on.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because they just had that one end credit scene where you saw like Daredevil's helmet and everybody was just like, where's Daredevil? You know, so I feel like if they do that, they're going to be doing the same thing. They're going to be looking for them instead of She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Matt asked that the list of Luke's clients be rejected, and Jen breaks the fourth wall to say, "Who's this asshole?" I love Jen cursing in the fourth wall breaks this up, so I find that hilarious. Like I kind of feel like they did that because this is Daredevil's episode, so they're like, we're gonna push the rating a little bit further.
Right. Yeah.
I think, like you said earlier about the fourth wall break and her getting her powers, like later in the episode, like you can see that she has more power with them. And I think it's really cool because it's sorry, someone's shooting off fireworks.
I can't hear it, so
yeah, I can't hear it either.
I think like those moments where she's swearing is also her more putting her personality, like they had her personality before, but these ones were really like her personality and her talking versus like, oh yeah, you thought the TV, like it's more what you would think would go on in Jen's head, and so it's really cool.
Definitely. Oh man. And I'm kind of hoping that the next episode they take even further by having it that in the opening Marvel Studios logo sequence have that there is like a drawn She-Hulk face over all of the moments that have Hulk in there. Like it'd be like she's using her fourth wall breaking powers to prank her cousin by taking his place in the intro.
Or have like pictures of her like head cut out and put on his.
Yeah, and like make it and like for the one with where he's wearing his gladiator helmet, it would be hilarious seeing Jen in a gladiator helmet.
That would be funny.
Oh man. So Jen makes the argument that there could be others that have faulty suits from Jacobson, and they go back and forth about this for a bit. Matt says something that's actually pretty interesting that affects the rest of the MCU. He says that the Sokovia Accords have been repealed, and I'm wondering if that is because like us of the Avengers bringing everyone back with the snap, so people are like, we trust you now. You brought everybody back.
Yeah, I caught that too. It made me wonder about him them bringing everybody back, if that kind of what did it.
And also though this may not be something public knowledge, but I expect it probably would because of Scott Lang's podcast. But it was the fact that it was particularly Hulk who brought everyone back, and it was and maybe that started changing General Ross's mind about the Hulk being this bad guy. I maybe and like the fact that this person he's always thought is the bad guy, I brought back half of all life. I feel like that should be enough to change someone's opinion.
True, but I think because ultimately Tony Stark's the one that brought everybody back. I mean, I know the Hulk tried,
well,
but
no, he brought everyone back. All Tony did was remove
Tony wiped out
Thanos's forces.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, that. But I feel like it's because Bruce and the Hulk was able to like be half Hulk, half Bruce, if that makes any sense. That they've kind of like relaxed on him a bit. And he's like been in outer space. Like
Yeah.
he hasn't been around to like Hulk smash anything in a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
definitely.
completely getting rid of them though would have had to like had just that much more. Like I fully think that like because we don't know that Ross got snapped. And so then when Ross got
Mhm.
snapped, it was just like the Avengers weren't really there and didn't have anything to do. That's when I just like to think that Tony was like, "Hey Steve, we're gonna get rid of these things," like, and just like got rid of them because they were like, "We can." No
Yeah,
one
like
cares
I
anymore. Like no one cares.
I think like how Disney bribes Congress to keep their characters in copyright. I maybe Tony bribed the government with some money to remove the Accords.
You get rid of these things. Bruce doesn't need this anymore. Bruce has been through enough, and he's like,
Oh
okay.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. So, oh Eugene gets up asking if this means he doesn't get a new suit, and he shows off his burnt one, which Matt smells that he used jet fuel in it, which Eugene failed to tell Jen this, and this is not what the instructions said to use. My God, this dumbass. I honestly,
Yes.
Eugene was like my least favorite character in the episode.
Yeah.
I do like
Definitely.
that Matt, like, because later I think Jen is like, "How'd you know that?" When he very clearly is like,
Yeah,
"Did
you
use?"
can see
And
you can see him smelling it.
which I think is very funny because it's like, yeah, he's such a good lawyer. And it's a comedy show. Like that would never happen in Daredevil, and it's obviously because this is a comedy
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you think
Like also how like he's like, I don't ask me how I knew that he was lying. And the judge is like, everybody knew he was lying.
everyone knew.
I also like how they kind of used Frogman more as like a joke comic
Yeah.
book character because like you see like I like Batman where they had like Calendar Man and like Mustard Man or whatever, and those were kind of like the jokes,
Yeah.
but in the comic books, Frogman wasn't kind of necessarily the joke, but they made him the joke in this episode, and it kind of made it like make sense.
Yes, definitely.
It is interesting that because the son is Frogman, but he calls himself Leapfrog
Yeah.
Yep.
in the episode. And so I was like, okay, well, that's interesting because your dad's supposed to be Leapfrog. You're supposed to be Frog.
Yup.
I was like,
And it's
interesting.
interesting that they actually did mention the dad as well in the episode.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
dad's the reason he has Jen. So that's why I was like, interesting that
Mhm.
you're saying
Mhm.
Leapfrog, but that's not supposed to be you.
I wonder if that was their way of like getting around him, if it was like legal issues, you know what I'm saying? Like he couldn't say he was Frogman due to like copyright issues or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think who knows?
Yeah.
I was like, I think they own all of them at this point, minus like Spider-Man. But
True. That is true. But you never know, you know, like because
Yeah.
I can't think of any reason why he wouldn't call himself Frogman, but
I don't. I'm the only thing I can guess is that they're like, Frogman is a boring name. Let's have him be Leapfrog.
you can make more
True.
jokes about Leapfrog and a lily pad than we can Frogman.
Yeah. So the judge dismisses the case, and Eugene asks, "Does that mean I'm going to jail?" And Jen says, "No, but I would like you to," which I definitely agree with Jen here. Eugene is so annoying. I'd love for him to go to jail. Oh man. So Jen tries to get at Luke's attention, and I love how Luke just says, "Yes, clown," out, and Jen just starts apologizing and asking if he would continue making her suits, and he in a sarcastic, cutesy voice says, "Jennifer, Jenny, Jen," and then in a very serious tone, "No, I hate you now." I found that hilarious. I love Luke so much in this series. He's such a great character. And so but the one thing I don't like is that that this makes Jen sad. At a really that and that makes me sad when Jen gets sad. Later that night, though, we see Jen at the Legalese bar, and Matt is also there. He ordered Jen an appletini, and then Jen lets Matt join her. She asks him how he came, why he came to Los Angeles, as what she says, as Luke Oak made a few suits for him, so he owed him one. Which I think this kind of confirms that that Matt will probably wear a different suit in Born Again, based on Luke making him multiple. So if people don't like the yellow and red, that's not a forever thing. Like, and I wouldn't, and because it's 18 episodes, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually even get multiple suits in the series.
It would definitely be interesting.
Yeah, like
And
I could see like halfway through, maybe like one gets destroyed for some reason, so he tries out another one.
And
He
I
has to
think
show up at some point in that shirt that says "I am not Daredevil."
Oh yeah.
Roll up into a party.
I also feel like they set up Luke's character to like make more cameos in like different shows as well. So
Oh, yeah.
I feel like this isn't going to be the last.
Yeah,
see
I
him.
think we'll probably see him again. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him like maybe like in Ironheart, and maybe he's like he's helped Riri Williams with making her suit. That could be a place he could show up. I don't think he would show up in Secret Invasion because I don't expect there to be any superhero suits in that. But I don't actually know after Secret Invasion which one's the next series after that.
Loki season 2 is somewhere.
Yeah.
Sadly, I don't think he would probably appear in Loki season 2, even though I would love it for him to appear in Loki season 2.
I do think it'll be really interesting to see how that character adapts in different genres, because like that's kind of my favorite part about this show.
Yeah.
Like She-Hulk is obviously like not going to be acting in the way that we see Jen in this show when we see her next, whether it's in the event, like whatever it is, she's going to be very different because it's not a comedy show, it's not a procedural. Just She-Hulk in the MCU.
And that's something that, you know, a lot of I feel like a lot of people, they complain about when characters feel differently in different in things, but I feel like people need to understand that's exactly how it was in the comics. Any different writer, it's going to feel very different, and than it did in the last thing that you see them in.
You also have different like limitations, like with Disney Plus and a series, you have a lot of limitations. And of course, you have to worry about like parents being upset with their kids seeing something that they don't like. But as a like when you have other shows and other directors or whatever who kind of like push the limits and make it a little more I don't know, risky, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely kind of understand that, but I definitely don't mind it being more risque.
I know. I'm like, I hope that Daredevil is still kind of not so like you know, like I want it to be like Netflix version of Daredevil, not like.
I think it will be after this. I mean, we're not there yet, but the fight sequence that he has in this episode, I was shocked that it was as Daredevil-y as
I think we definitely will, and like big thing that that confirmed to me that they are willing to let his series be TVMA. Well, two things actually. One, they've said many times they're not going to make Deadpool be PG-13, and then also at San Diego Comic-Con they confirmed that that Marvel Zombies will be TVMA. So why would they refuse Daredevil if they're going to let Marvel Zombies, even though I feel like they would be honestly less likely to let an animated show be TVMA than a live action one, because you're more likely with an animated show to have parents up in arms about it.
Yep, that's true.
Let me see.
Jen flirting in a bar.
Yeah, so Jen asked Matt about his practice in New York. He explains that at his practice he mostly does pro bono work, and just occasionally does the except for big clients. And Jen makes a joke about the secret double lives of Matt Murdock, not knowing what she's that there's even more to it than that. Matt tells her that he thinks she's in a position to do some real good. Jen and can use the law to help people when society fails them, and She-Hulk can help people when the law fails them. So, if you can, if you choose, and Jen says, be the best of both worlds, which this is exactly what Bruce wanted to teach her, and she finally is feeling ready to hear it. I think is why they put that into the episode.
It also is easier to come from a cute boy that you can look at versus your cousin.
Yeah, that definitely would be.
My cousin told me that, and I'd be like, okay.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So, I also think this conversation is very important, as after this episode, I don't expect Jen is going to be working for GLK and H anymore. So either she will start her own firm or join Nelson Murdoch and Page in New York, which I'm kind of 50-50 on which one of those I want. Like, because on one hand, I like her staying in Los Angeles because I feel like there's too much stuff, Marvel stuff that's set in New York already. But on the other hand, if she moved to New York, we could get a Spider-Man crossover, which I would really love to have She-Hulk and Spider-Man interacting. Like, which would you guys rather, her starting her own firm or going to New York to work with Matt?
I feel like me personally, I am leaning towards more her starting her own practice because it would be cool for her to like interact with Spider-Man, but I feel like they have plans for her to interact with not necessarily bigger Marvel characters, but more like adultish type characters because Spider-Man's still a kid. And I don't know, I just don't see that like going that route, but it would be cool if it went that route.
Yeah.
But I just don't see it that way.
Yeah, I just want Spider-Man to interact with some Hulk. He's like I've seen I've seen in like whether it be comics or in animation, and it's such a fun dynamic, Spider-Man with a Hulk.
Yeah, Hulk. He teaches Hulk how to control his anger
Yeah.
in Spidey and his amazing friends. I've
Yeah.
had to watch the whole show with my niece. I watched all of it, but I want her. I think she's not going to fully be away from this law firm. I think like Renee Elise Goldsberry's character and Pug and like all of those people are all going to go with Jen.
Oh yeah.
Because the minute you saw like what was going on, they were like Jen, like they all knew.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like oh no, we're afraid. It was like, no, our friend is clearly going to like flip out because of what's going on. And I think if they try and get rid of her, it's going to be either an all or nothing kind of thing where they'll be like, I think all of us or none of us.
I think that they will definitely go with her, but I do also think that there's like GLK and H. I feel like they're not gonna be able to keep her on after this because everyone sees her as a monster now. So I don't think I don't think from a publicity a side that they can afford to keep her on.
Yeah, it might get complicated because of like the incels essentially that are targeting her, that like by getting rid of her that they're feeding that, and I think that like it's two PR storms at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see what they actually decide.
I also it's not a big part of me, but a little bit of me wonders if GLK and H, since I think Todd is part of this of the intelligentsia organization, part of me does wonder if GLK and H is somehow involved as well. I think there's a chance of that, and like in the finale, they could maybe like expose GLK and H. the next thing I think is that so Matt had to walk away for a second to take a call, and Jen then asked the audience if we're all feeling this or if all feeling this, right, and which yeah, I'm definitely feeling this. They have some great chemistry, and the relationship honestly to me just feels so wholesome. uh and the Todd texts Jen saying he wants to meet her for a legal matter. Jen tries to ignore the text, and then Matt tells her that something came up. He's got to leave. Both of them and they get really awkward saying their goodbyes. Just more sparks flying between them. Todd forces her to come by saying he'll call Holloway if she doesn't. So we cut to this meeting. Todd says that he won a Wakandan spear at an auction. And he doesn't specifically say it, but I'm pretty sure he wants to test it on Jen because that's made of vibranium. I honestly was surprised he didn't actually say, let's test it.
I think I took that as him trying to impress her and be like, look how much money I have, because he's obsessed with her and like wants to date her.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I do, but I feel like specifically that it's a condensed spear and vibranium is particularly what he asked her about earlier in the season. I feel like he does want to test that, and maybe why he was like getting all up in her face was he was hoping that she would go home with him, and then he could test it at home.
I took it as like he was trying to impress her. And the scene where he like shows the selfie of him holding the spear and he's like shirtless, I like died laughing at that part just because like I bet like Rachel can understand. Like I'm sure you've had that happen before where like a guy's tried to be like, ooh, look at me. And it's like a picture of it, like, look at my car. And it's like him shirtless. So like every woman
Or
can
it's like the
relate to
guy
that.
with the fish where you're like, why are you holding fish? Like no one wants to see you holding a fish.
Exactly.
It's that mentality. And like I also think like he's so in his own head that he was like, why are they even bothering with me? And like she's like, because it's colonization. Like she is like, you know why they're mad, right? And he's like, no, I don't get it. And she's like, oh, okay, well, here's why they're mad. And so like, yes, on one hand,
and like and then he does like the Wakanda forever thing, and it's like, oh god, why did you do that?
I have been in a room where white people are like, Wakanda forever, and you're like, nope, it's not one. This one's not for us.
Exactly.
You gotta do that.
Yep.
Exactly.
I remember a few years ago, I think there was like some kind of like there was some big like government like meeting thing where they all wore African garb, and it was like, why are you wearing this? This is not okay.
She-Hulk's making fun of it.
Yeah. Oh man. So he starts acting like this is a date, and Jen just gets up and leaves immediately. She heads home, falls on the couch, and her phone rings. Eugene needs her help, and right before getting out, leaving the door, she decides to go to her closet and grabs the super suit that Luke made her. We then cut to Eugene in a green car that I really wish was Jen's and not his, because I want to see the She-Hulk mobile in live action, because that is tying in the comics. Oh my god! And I was honestly, from the trailers, just based on the fact that there's a green in car, I was thinking this was going to be that.
I don't think it's going to be that yet. Like I would not be surprised if there's like an end credit scene after the finale where it shows like the She-Hulk like mobile or whatever.
Maybe like I was and I was thinking even more that it was gonna be like that, because of the fact that they made it so she was going to have to buy a new car after last episode because her car got destroyed by Manbull.
That's right.
So then and Daredevil is holding on to the top of the vehicle. And we then see Jen does a Hulk jump in front of the car, giving us our first look at the suit in all its glory. And I love the suit that they gave for Jen for this series, though I do wish it I had some more of the color from other out of the comics, because there's because from what I've seen from and from different She-Hulk fans on Twitter, like there's like the comic version has a lot more color in it. Let's see. Daredevil jumps off the car in epic fashion, and Jen starts trying to fight him, but he's too athletic for her to hit him. So Jen tells him that I'm gonna whoop your ass. And Jen then does a ground pound, breaking all of the floor under them. I loved this. And Matt makes a joke that my ass remains unwhooped. I love the humor they gave Matt in this episode.
Matt Murdock's funny.
Yeah, he
Going
is.
to a party wearing a
It's
shirt
crazy.
that says "I am not
Like,
Daredevil." He's funny.
Like seriously, seriously in the Daredevil series on Netflix, he had humor, but these people don't want to believe that. So they're so just so that they have something to get angry about with the
Just
episode.
want to complain.
They just want to complain about
It's
anything.
funny in
Yeah,
every.
and then
They
like,
don't want
also-
anybody. They don't want anything to be fun or funny. Like they want everything to be serious and brooding. And you can go to DC for that. Like
Yeah.
Even that, they're all funny. People just
And then also like I saw in one of the incel YouTubers is posting on social media about how we went from the hallway scene in Daredevil to in She-Hulk we have him doing the walk of shame away from Jen's house. So like there's literally a hallway scene also in this.
That's what I was talking
that's
about.
stupid.
That hallway scene is
And
such
then
a
also
callback.
but also Matt is the biggest whore in the Marvel universe. He has sex with everybody. That is not out of character at all.
I mean, it's not out of character for She-Hulk either, because in the comics, she's a partier. Like she parties any chance she gets. She had like orgies, I think, in one comic. Like it's not.
It's definitely not out of character for either. It's like these people, they're trying to find reasons to complain, even though there's not any real criticism they can actually give.
Exactly.
So let's see. And Jen tells him that let's fix this. It says she runs towards him. He scales the building down to the ground as Eugene drives off, and Jen does another big Hulk jump to get down to the ground. Which, if you know my podcast, you know I love Hulk jumps. I don't know what about it is about them, but I've just always loved seeing a Hulk jump places.
I think it's because it's so forceful.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
And it's also like they have to throw their whole body in too. It's not just like a hop.
No. Well, they're so heavy. I imagine Hulk's being extremely heavy, so they have to throw their whole body into it. But they're just,
it's just
fun
so cool.
and destructive and awesome.
Oh yeah, particularly like in the 2003 Hulk film. This is something I mentioned multiple times on my podcast, but the scene where he's just jumping through like different environments of deserts and stuff, like to me, like it just felt so. It felt like very peaceful just watching Hulk jump through lots of different environments. I loved that.
I mean, I think that shows his like force, being able to jump from like one country to another, and
yeah.
So Jen grabs a car and throws it at him, but misses. And then she jumps over to him, and as he runs away again, she does a thunderclap. And
Going so many cars. She was so mad the car got wrecked. She wrecked so many cars.
Yeah. Oh man, which like I love the thunderclap, but both times that she's used the thunderclap in the series, I think she went too far with it. Like
you could listen. I love Matt Murdock, but he's tiny.
Yeah.
He's tiny.
You could have run in like one jump and gotten there.
Oh yeah.
It's like Their club.
She could have just
God.
like bear hugged him and then
just
like,
like
I'm not.
just like with in the first episode, she does it to Bruce, and like she does it so many times it actually hurt him. Like that, I felt went too far as well. Like I I feel like the thunderclap should only be reserved for big villains.
Agree.
Yeah.
So then and she picks him up and grabs his mask off. They have a conversation about his powers, and he reveals that Leapfrog kidnapped Luke. And Jen asks, "What? Why didn't you tell me before we fought?" And Matt's like, "Well, why didn't you ask before trying to whoop my ass?" I love their banter so much in this episode. Um, and Jen says that she assumed the guy dressed as the devil is the bad guy. Matt's like, "That's fair." And then the theme song from Daredevil plays as he says, "As I'm Daredevil." I loved that. Like Marvel really knows how to get you in your feels with theme songs.
Theme song.
Yeah, and the Avengers theme played at some point during this episode too.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to do something and the Avengers theme played, and I was like, what's going on?
Oh man. Though and I've said this before on my podcast, I wish the She-Hulk theme song wasn't just an instrumental like all the rest of them. I wish they actually had had words to it to just play with that fun theme song sort of thing that a lot of older TV shows had.
I want it to be like WandaVision.
Yeah. Like,
something that you remember. Really, yeah.
Like, what I think would have been really.
I still sing the Agatha one. Like my niece's name is Lexi.
Oh yeah,
and I made it Lexitha.
I love that.
Lexitha, that is so awesome.
Like, they honestly, what I think would have been really cool was if like halfway through the season, if like Jen at some point broke the fourth wall and was like, "Wait, at the beginning of these episodes, they're not giving me like an actual theme song," and like then like her and having like throughout the episode her going to a recording studio and just making up her own theme song. I think that would have been hilarious.
Her and Nikki, that would have been great.
Yeah, that would have been great. Oh,
it would have been awesome.
So much. Oh man. So they start heading over to the lily pad. And Matt asks if you've ever destroyed a parking lot before, to which Jen says she'll leave a note, which I love this. Love that little aspect of Jen's character. It kind of to me feels like how just like how in I think it was the second episode when they got when they had or either second or no third episode when they had Wong was at the parole hearing, and after he left, she immediately went and fixed the microphone. Like it's just a little quirk of her character that she's always trying to fix things. And but I love that. That we see see Eugene telling Luke that he wants his how he wants his suit to be made, and at least to me, it sounded like he just wants a frog version of the Iron Man suit, especially since he mentioned a British voice in there.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
And we then pan out to Jen and Matt on the roof. They discuss the difference between goons and henchmen, and Matt then explains how he knows how many goons are in there by their heartbeats. He says that as he can hear hers too, and it's beating pretty fast. She tries to play it off, but I think everyone knows why her heart is beating so much. Matt tells Jen to stay while he goes to take out the goons, and Jen's like, "I'm a Hulk. Why don't we just smash our way in?" And they banter back and forth about this some more. It's really cute. And then Matt goes stealthily inside while Jen does a little dance, which I loved seeing that little dance. It was so cute. With her just on the rooftop doing a little dance. Oh man. So then let's see. This is then where we see the epic hallway fight with Daredevil, and this one was in blue lighting, unlike what I think it was in red lighting in his show, which I thought that was kind of a cool touch, them playing blue lighting in the end. But this was such a cool hallway fight. It's like, yes, it's not a one shot thing like the Daredevil series had, but I think it was still pretty good. And also, like, I kind of feel like if Jen hadn't come in, like Jen hadn't come in through the ceiling, I think that he would have ended up like actually going full into that Daredevil violence. Yeah, like, and let's see oh yeah, so during this he does a move where he jumps off the wall while throwing sign, and I'm pretty sure we saw that exact same move of either once in the actual Daredevil series, or it was in a poster for the Daredevil series. Do either of you remember what I'm talking about? He kicks off the wall as he's throwing something at someone.
I think I remember. I think it was in the series.
Yeah, I feel like I immediately when I saw that I was like, I recognize that move from somewhere.
I mean, with shows like She-Hulk and having Daredevil in it, they're always gonna have like those Easter eggs, where like, hey, like that's his move and whatever. And so I think that's like could possibly one of his signature moves, but it is one that they'll make you think like, hey, I think he's done that before. So I feel like they do that stuff on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and some goons come around the corner running at Matt, but Jen slams through the ceiling, taking them all out, and she says, "She-Hulk smash!" I fucking love that line. That was awesome. And it really, her saying that really feels like she is finally accepting the She-Hulk side of her and is enjoying that, which in the previous episodes she hasn't really enjoyed the She-Hulk side. Then let's see. Matt and Jen then come smashing through the wall, and Matt fights goons while Jen goes over, frees Luke, while telling Eugene that she is helping him. She tells him that she's going to give him some legal advice. Stop now before you rack up more serious charges. And then her and Matt just start listing the ways that they could spin this to get him to not go to prison, which I loved that. Like, that was so fun. And then Eugene asks, "So the Devil Ninja guy is a lawyer too?" And Matt says that he's just a fan of legal dramas. I thought that was a hilarious joke. Oh my god.
I feel like, again, I feel like Disney, like, I don't know if they could have like predicted like what people would have said about the show, but you see people who were like, we wanted She-Hulk to be like, like Better Call Saul. Well, they're like completely different shows. So I feel like that was like could possibly be another jab of people comparing She-Hulk to like other legal drama shows.
Definitely. They've done a lot of that, and like I feel like there's probably even some moments where nobody even caught it, but they were doing that.
Yeah,
just because definitely. They are so good at what they do. So Jen breaks the fourth wall to say that this guy is really doing it for me. And then and goon number 5, I tried using a baseball bat on Jen, which I only know that because hilariously I happened to be looking at the subtitles. And it says it as his name is Goon number 5. Oh man. So
That's actually kind of awesome.
yeah. So Jen says it's sad that you thought that would work, Eric, and then Leapfrog jumps out of the building, breaking probably a bunch of bones while doing that. And then when the police arrive, Jen talks with Luke, who forgives her and says he will make the dress. And then Jen goes and sits with Matt on top of the lily pad sign. They banter back and forth about who was the lead superhero on this, which I think is also another thing where they were trying to call out the people who are like, oh, are like only saying that only are watching in She-Hulk for Daredevil. Which also like I think it's so funny. Like all of these fans, like they're like, oh, they act like this, but Matt or Charlie Cox at D23, he was like, oh, this is this is such an amazing thing that we did on She-Hulk. He enjoyed it so much. Like I feel like Charlie Cox, if he saw all of the stuff that Daredevil fans say, he would be ashamed of them with some of the stuff that they say. Like, oh my god. Um. So, the and Jen asks when he heads to New York, Ark, and Matt tells her tomorrow. And Matt suggests that he'll next time he's in town, he'll take her on a date. And Jen says, or we could skip all of that. So they head to Jen's house and decide to have some fun in the bedroom. Sadly, we don't get to see that fun as they cut straight to morning, but they had some fun themselves. And this is where we see Matt hilariously does the walk of shame. That was great. Like probably one of the funniest things in the episode was him just walking away from the house.
I think what makes it like even more hilarious is now it's like they kind of like the roles were reversed. Like the man was doing the walk of shame as opposed to
oh yeah,
She-Hulk doing the walk of shame.
Definitely. So then we which so we cut back to the house, and Jen is wondering why we're still here. Doesn't it feel like this episode should be over? Nikki walks in and tells Jen about how Matt is doing the walk of shame, and Jen just starts smiling. So Nikki's like, "You did the with the," and Jen just smiles, saying, "Yes." And she's like, "Yeah, we're happy." Oh man. And so then and Nikki walks into another room as Jen continues talking to us, asking, what is this scene? The episode already came to a very satisfying conclusion. Trust me. And she grins again. And then Nikki says as that they gotta get ready. And Jen continues, we're doing the gala? That doesn't feel right. Is the next episode the finale? Attacked on set feast near the end of the season? This must be the big twist. She says, is this a twist like there's another Hulk? One that's red? Or one where I'm fridged? And then Nikki jumps out into frame with makeup tools. It's like she's Wolverine, which, oh my god, I love that. And which, but also, yeah, so they made a fucking Red Hulk reference. I love that. And then they also like I also think that I think she might be right on that second choice. Based on what happens at the end of the episode, I'm thinking maybe next episode someone else might like I be the one fighting Intelligentsia while she's technically fridged, which I think actually might be the case. What is and then also I still think there is a possibility we could be getting Red Hulk at the end of the season, based on people the Intelligentsia trying to get her blood, and literally it was the Intelligentsia using Hulk blood in the comics to create Red Hulk. So yeah. So we then cut to her getting to the gala, and she is looking amazing. Oh my god! She does a air flip. I'm in love. I think people that want to say probably already know that, but yeah. Oh man. So uh, let's see what her parents are there as she goes inside. And Jen waves at Holloway, who's revealed to be talking to Todd. Fuck Todd. They head to their table, and we hear Jen won the award. And as she gets up, I love Pug's energy. He shouts, "Let's go!" Oh man, Pug is such a great friend. Oh my god. And sadly though, Jen isn't the only one getting the award, so it doesn't mean as much. And when the mic finally gets to Jen, she says she wants to thank her parents, friends, and colleagues. And then a giant Hulk King emoji appears behind her on the massive screen. And a voice is heard saying, "Do you want to know who She-Hulk really is?" And then two guys in masks appear on screen explaining how they are from intelligentsia. And they ramble on. I don't really care about repeating everything that these incels have to say. But so Jen and Nikki try to get this shit turned off, but sadly, no one does anything to stop it from playing. Um, and we find out that Josh made a sex tape of them. I hate Josh so much. We see it's really sad. We see Jen's dad as reaction to all of this happening, which that kind of reminded me. Um, have you either of you ever heard of the DC story, a Batman the Killing Joke?
Mhm.
So in that story, or Joker, or I think he sexually assaulted Barbara Gordon, and then he put Jim Gordon on like a roller coaster where he was showing him photos of her being sexually assaulted, which was just like which was so fucked up. And this reminded me of that, seeing Jen's father here having to react to this. But oh my god, this was such a horrifying scene, and this causes Jen to go savage in her anger. She breaks down the screen. The lights go red as everyone runs away. Jen chases after some intelligentsia guys, and I'm pretty damn sure one of them is Todd. Just based on the hair they looked with the mask on. Um, and then she picks up one outside, roaring at him, and the DOGC is there, pointing sonic guns at her. She lets the guy go and surrenders, and that ends the episode. So I absolutely love this episode. This was this it's not my favorite episode of the season, but it's gotta be my second favorite. My first is my favorite is the first episode with Bruce and Jen. And but this episode is easily the second best for me. And I really did not expect how this episode ended. That was so surprising.
Mhm.
And Daredevil, I think, was absolutely perfect in this. It's sadly, obviously, some of his fans will complain that he cracks jokes, and then also like him and Jen's and have incredible chemistry together. The episode is just so crazy, and I'd honestly planned on trying to do less of a line by line breakdown with this episode, just because I was like, because I want I want to make it be more conversation focused, but um I've failed to do that because there's just like there's so many important lines this episode. I was like, I want to mention everything. There's so many good things.
Yeah, there definitely is. It's up there. It's really
Yeah.
good.
So uh so um first, Shanel, what did you think of this episode as a whole?
It's like you said, it's not exactly my favorite, but it is up there. Like it is one of the good ones, but
Mhm.
that's just it's just like because in any Disney show, I always feel like it's slow, and then at the end is where it gets amazing. But that's like a whole, that's a strategy that Disney uses is to make you want more episodes or to make you want another season. Is they kind of like make it slow and then make it really good at the end. I love Daredevil in it. He like their chemistry was awesome. Um, I mean, people are gonna complain no matter what, but I enjoyed
Mhm.
it.
Oh yeah. Oh, Rachel, what was your thoughts on the episode as a whole?
I liked it a lot. I think it's very near perfect. I like it very, very much.
All right, thank you. So I have a bunch of like theories I think could happen in the finale. Some of them are pretty unlikely, but I think they would make sense if they happened. So the first one on is there's a shot in the trailer of Abomination in the cabin with a giant crowd of dudes around him. If we get that shot in the finale, if it's not cut out, I would not be surprised if it's like Blonsky heard about what happened, and because he cares a lot about Jen, he decides to go after Intelligentsia for what they did to her, and but like for it's after like getting peer pressured into it by the gang. And like I'm thinking like this scene would be him like almost undercover playing up these on their side, either to get information out of them or just get them all in this building to lock them inside. What do you think of that theory for the finale?
I feel like it's a good probability.
And then the next one is that I I think what could happen is that since I'm pretty sure Hulk is gonna come back next episode. I'm thinking him and Abomination might actually team up against Intelligentsia while Jen has to deal with her new legal troubles of with the DODC, which would be so cool if see Hulk and Abomination be teaming up together. And then next is like I wouldn't be surprised if Matt actually shows up again next week, like turning right around after from New York after seeing what happened, so he can represent Jen in court. Since she's got to be represented by someone, as Jen knows it's not smart to represent yourself. So I really would not be surprised if he comes back. And like I've seen some people saying like maybe she can have like a Pug or Mallory represent her, but I don't think that that she would be allowed to do that because I expect GLKNH is going to fire her, which I feel like they probably would have some kind of like clause in the contract saying that after you get fired, you can't be hired or you can't become a client at GLKNH. So what do you think? You guys think of the possibility that Matt could be coming back again next week?
I think you could.
So,
Um, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, he could, but at the same time, I don't think he will, just because they're trying to solidify that this show is like She-Hulk show,
yes,
not
yeah,
Daredevil.
I went I honestly wouldn't mind either way. Um, I and like if you had asked me last week, I would have said no. I definitely don't want him to come back in the finale. But now it's out. If it's a bit different because he showed up this week. Like I wouldn't mind him as much in the finale because the hype will have died down for him appearing, so it's not going to take away from Jen in the finale. Versus if he had only appeared in the finale, it would take away so much too much from Jen for her finale.
Right.
And then the next one is that I feel like the opening scene next week, or at least one of the scenes close to the opening, I think will be Jen in the same cell that Blonsky was in before he got released, and it will be Agent Cleary talking to her. Cause I feel like anywhere the DODC is involved, Agent Cleary is going to be the one to be there for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see her being in that, but it would be awesome to have like a cool Easter egg where she's in where they made the I guess the trap or whatever for the Hulk, but Loki was in it instead.
Oh, that'd be
You
cool.
know, that would be
Yeah.
cool, but I doubt they did that. But it would be cool if they had like a little Avengers Easter egg in there, but you never know.
That would be awesome. Next is like, I feel like Bruce, upon getting back from space and finding out what happened, he will come to try to help Jen mentally because she's not used to going savage. And then I expect that the DODC or whoever is like actually technically against her in court or for these for since she was arrested, I think they're going to bring up in court that this isn't the first time this has happened. Even though Jen doesn't have memory of it, she went savage outside of the bar in episode 1 with the two guys who harassed her. I'm thinking they will bring out those guys as the harasser as witnesses to say that this is a pattern of events that she cannot be trusted to not do this again. And then the next one is, I think if the rumors that Bruce found out he got a son on the car are true, I think one of the final scenes in the episode will be one where Jen tries saying like, "Oh, you can say I told you so now," because almost everything that Bruce told her ended up being right. Even though Jen didn't want to believe that it was right. But I think what Bruce's response would be is not "I told you so," but you were right. And he would continue that I can't hide from my problems and stay away from family, and that he would go into explaining that he's gonna get some therapy because he's got a son, and before he can be a father, he's got to make sure he breaks the cycle and not be like his father. And I wouldn't be terribly surprised if they use that to be like how the Savage Hulk comes back out, because I imagine him going to therapy could end up being too much for him and unleash the World War Hulk that people are expecting a film on. Um, and but part of why I think this is possible is that I feel like they can't end the season with it simply Bruce, the big strong dude, was right, and Jen, the female, was wrong in her series. There has to be something that in that from that first episode that Jen was right about. I feel like it would feel weird if the season ended with them just being like, "Oh yeah, I was wrong about everything. Bruce was right." So that is all of my theories for the final episode. We'll see how well if those come true. I feel like I have a good chance at least one of them will come true, but I don't expect they will all come true. So the earlier I mentioned that I have a little game, and so basically I'm gonna ask you some trivia questions based on this episode, and whoever gets the most right of the or or gets them right the quickest out of these three that I have. I did have four, but I removed one because both of you already knew about Frogman and being his name in the comics. But so basically, who gets the most right, or if both of you get them right, I'll just let both of you do it. But that you get to send me something in chat, and I will be forced to say it as to end off the episode in an announcer voice. All right. So the first one, question: when Matt and Jen are in the parking lot, there's a billboard in the background for what?
Rogers the Musical.
All right. Do you think that's correct, Shanel?
Yes.
Okay. And then next, what is the name of the restaurant that Todd wanted Jen to meet him at?
That's the one. I don't know.
No, boo. I'm just gonna go with a popular restaurant.
Okay. That was definitely one of the. I actually I don't know whether that's harder or not than the last one, but the answer to that was hoof and floor. And then the last question. You guys should be easily able to get at least one of the answers to this question, right? But what two superheroes are shown via pictures off of Jen's phone in the Intelligentsia hack?
Captain America's ass.
There's two of them, though.
I mean, I'm gonna go Hulk for the others.
I love how you answered that. You're like, yes. That's America's ass.
That's her phone.
Definitely
I definitely remember Captain America. I don't remember anybody else.
You guys got the same amount of answers, right? So I'll let you both do give me side to say in chat. But the answers were Captain America, obviously, and then it is very small, but in the background of one of those pictures of Captain America, it's a scene from Civil War, and you see Spider-Man in the background.
Heidi.
Yeah. So all right. Shanel, do you have anything you'd like me to say?
I agree with what Rachel is. That's amazing. I would have never thought of that, but I'm so glad she did.
Okay. Well, I'll ribbit and rip it. All right.
Amazing.
That was awesome. All right. Before I end off this episode, is there any final things either of you would like to say?
I love the Catholic boy. I'm excited he was back. That's all.
That's it. And Captain America's ass.
America's ass.
All right. Well, all right. Well, thank you again to each one of you for coming on. You can check out Rachel at Rachel Leishman and on Twitter, as well as I think you have a Pedro Pascal podcast.
I do. It's called Pedro Pascal. When we go through all of Pascal's filmography.
That's amazing.
And then you can check out Shanel on Twitter and on I think you soon planning on coming back to podcast platforms. I'm certain they're Nerd in Texas podcast, so you can be on the lookout for that. And I think your Twitter is at Nerd in Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so definitely check both of them out. And thank you for listening. If you like this game analysis, please give a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a 5-star rating on Spotify. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the episode, so please let me know. And if you'd like to listen to more from me, please subscribe. Many more Gamma analysis from me coming, so keep on the lookout. This again is your host, Smash Trivia John, signing off.